Hello, everybody. This is Kelley Lynn, newest contributor to the Suicide Talkz page. I'm a widow, and I'm also a rape survivor 20 years ago. And I'm also a food addict. Because of that. Good times. This week's video is answering more questions that you guys had. And my question that I'm going to answer today is about PTSD and panic attacks and that sort of thing. And the question is, what happens when you suffer from an episode, from a PTSD episode? Like, what actually is it? What happens? So I'm going to answer that in a second. And that comes from somebody on YouTube. So thank you so much for that question. Sour Eggs, I think, is the name on YouTube. Sour Eggs. That's a weird name. So I am in my workout getup right now. This is my backwards hat workout getup. I just went for a morning walk and I'm trying to do the whole workout thing. I got home and I saw that stupid commercial on TV with Oprah where she's like yapping about bread. I can't stand that commercial. I think it's for Weight Watchers, where she's like, I love bread, bread, bread. I can eat all the bread that I want, bread. I'm like, shut up. You have a personal trainer, you have chefs, you have a personal chef. If I had all that crap too and your money, I could also eat bread. But I can't eat bread because then I'll eat like 5 loaves of bread and 5 baskets of bread. So it's not that simple, lady. Okay, so anyway, so I just got back. I'm doing like a morning walk routine. I'm trying to do exercise bike. I hate all this crap. Hate it. Hate exercising. I'm going to tell the truth about stuff because that's what I do. While I was out walking, this is a good day to talk about PTSD, because while I was out walking, I was walking a local track, and there was an ambulance there. And an ambulance is one of my biggest triggers from my husband's death because A, he was a paramedic, so he drove an ambulance and was in an ambulance all the time. And B, he died in an ambulance. So he had a massive heart attack at work, and but not at his job as a paramedic, at his volunteer job as an animal rescue person, with helping with adoptions and stuff. So, because he couldn't die at work when he would be in an ambulance, because then he could have probably been saved. No, he had to die in a PetSmart while he was taking care of cats. That's what happened. So anyway, he was rushed. He was taken by ambulance to the ER and pretty much coded in the ambulance and died. And so that's a big trigger for me, is just the sound of an ambulance. Ambulance is going by, because, his uniform, guys that look like him in his uniform, in that same blue uniform, that EMT uniform, paramedic, whatever. And since his death, I've dated 3 paramedics. 3. I've been involved with three different paramedics, or EMTs, or people in fire/paramedic. I'm not doing this on purpose. I keep meeting them and I don't mean to. It just keeps happening. So I think Dawn wants a paramedic in my life for some reason. So that's what I'm getting from all this. But anyway, I was on the track, and so I was walking, and the guy that I just dated a guy for about less than a month, but it was a really, really good relationship. We had a great connection. And then he dumped me like out of nowhere because he was still in love with his ex, and she wanted him back, blah, blah, blah. And so he dumped me. And so while I was at the track, I saw his ambulance at the track. I don't know if it was him in it, but just it was his company, and they're right here in the same town I live in, so I think it was him. So anyway, I kind of had like a mild panic attack, just thinking, oh my God, that could be him. And then I start thinking about, my husband and the whole ambulance trigger thing. So what happens when you have a panic attack or PTSD? Which is from trauma, any kind of trauma related thing. And I have it for 2 reasons. My husband's sudden death that morning, everything that happened that morning, there's a lot of triggers for me that come up every now and then. And also the rape 20 years ago. And both of those events for me happened in the middle of the night. Well, technically the early morning, like 6:30 in the morning. When my husband died, I got a phone call that jarred me awake at 6:30 in the morning, because he was already at work, and it was the hospital calling to tell me that he was, we have your husband, you have to get here right away. They wouldn't tell me he was dead, but I knew. because I was married to a paramedic, and he told me that if you ever get a phone call like that, it means the person's dead. They're not allowed to tell you over the phone. So that's the first thing. And then when I was raped, it was in the middle of the night in my apartment, and he broke in. It was an ex-boyfriend, and he broke in and did horrific things to me. And so in both cases, it was in the middle of the night when I was asleep that the two worst things happened to me in my life. So I have a lot of problems with sleep. I have massive insomnia, and a lot of my panic and things come from sleep. So what do I do when I get a panic attack, and what happens? What is it? You can't breathe. First of all, everyone's different. Everyone's panic attack and everyone's PTSD is different, and different things cause them. But it basically brings you back to the event of whatever the trauma was. So in my case, I have flashbacks. Sometimes I wake up with nightmares about the sexual assault. Sometimes I wake up with nightmares that my husband's dying again. Sometimes I'll be in my apartment alone and I think I'm having a heart attack just like he did, and I'm alone and I'm going to die here alone and nobody's going to find me, and my cats are going to eat me and they're going to lick my eyeballs, and then, I'm just going to be here forever because nobody will know I'm dead. And so these are the things I think about. If I'm eating something and I start, what if I choke on this? This might be too hard of an item to eat by myself right now. I shouldn't eat this. So what do you do when it happens? If I'm driving, I have to pull over. I mean, it's really bad. You can't breathe. You can't do much of anything. And it comes in different forms. It feels like you're having a heart attack. It really feels like you're having a heart attack. But the first thing I do is just talk to myself. It sounds crazy, but I talk to myself and I tell myself, this is not a heart attack. This is a panic attack. You're fine. You're fine. It's not happening again. He's not dying again. You're not being raped again. It can't happen again. It already happened, and you're just going through a thing right now. And that's what I do, basically. I just kind of talk myself down from it. There's a lot of other things, too, that I could tell you about, but I'll have to wait till the next video because I swear these go by so quick. And if I have to keep this to 8 minutes, which is the requirement for the page, I can't really get much out in 8 minutes. So I need to, I'm going to continue the answer to this in my next video. But I just, the first thing you do is you talk to yourself, and you kind of talk yourself down from the PTSD, and you tell yourself that it's, in your head, it's not happening again. It's not, it's real. Like, the fears are real, but you're going to be fine. You're going to be okay. And I literally do that, sometimes out loud, sometimes to myself, but I will talk myself down from it. And if that doesn't work, I'll call somebody and have them talk me down from it and just have them tell me to breathe. I used to have somebody that I called that would just tell me to breathe. He would just say, breathe, just in and out. And he would just sit on the phone with me and breathe with me and just tell me to breathe. And like, just listening to his calming voice would help. And that's what I would do. When my husband was alive and I used to have nightmares, that's what he would do. He would just tell me to breathe, and he would sit in the bed with me and just say, breathe, you're okay. You're safe. You're okay. And so with him being gone, it's really hard to sometimes not have that person to do that. It is what it is, so I get myself through it. And I have a lot of great friends, fortunately, that will help me get through it, that I can call if I need to in the middle of the night and tell them what's going on. And that's about it. So talk yourself through it. But there's a lot of forms of panic attacks and PTSD. There's a lot of ways that it can come about. It's not always like a breathing thing. Sometimes it's just sobbing. Sometimes it's just like a form of depression where you just can't move. You feel like you can't do anything. So there's a lot of ways it can come about. I will continue this next time. And if you could leave your comments and keep asking me more questions, because I would love to answer any of your questions about food, addiction, grief, loss, trauma, anything you have questions about. Okay? Thanks so much. Bye.